Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. It's 2022, and I'm finally getting around to filming one of these, recording one of these, and this is the second attempt at this one because I was an idiot and hit mute on my mic. That's why now I'm not touching it. Okay, so hopefully it's an improvement. But 2022, we have an important guest, the first guest, and honestly, the only one that I had around at a very convenient time. So today we have Daniel TJ Big Dick Alvarez. Hello. That will always be your intro. Even the first time we did the first one we did, I still did it, and I'll do it every time. But what's going on, man?
Nothing much. Chilling. It's been a long day. It's been like a long good day.
I was gonna say, I don't think you've
not a bad
really
day,
had to be strenuous today.
I just hung out and ate a lot of pizza. Yeah, we and Casey went and got like a shitload of food from Boss's Pizza, and
you really gave you like the small boxes.
The little boxes. Yeah, that pissed me off. I was like, wait, how do I put this to go? Yeah, so it's just all stacked on each other.
Because you went to eat there, right? Like it's a buffet, right, Boss's?
Not the buffet. No, we ordered. We were past the buffet. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Shout out Boss's. Lake Worth.
Is there another one? It's not a chain.
They have like New Braunfels and whatever the hell ever.
Whatever. We don't recognize those. Those don't count. They're not real. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's been a long time. Sorry, I forgot how to do these. You're supposed to have questions and stuff.
No, we just chatted
I need to have questions.
We just chatted
it was on your shirt. That's a good.
I'm Destruction. Tech Death band from Fort Worth, Dallas area. Stephen Mashburn. Fucking sick ass guitar player and frontman, real cool shit.
You know what? That's good. There you go. Now my brain got going. Frontman. Speaking of front, I saw that you want to front a band again.
Oh man, I just want to yell at people. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do is yell at people. Because like when we'd play, like I'd always get like people would be like, "Oh, why are you so nice?" And blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't understand. Like I get to play. And when I play, like I do backing vocals, and it's a different story. But like, I still get to yell at people. Like it all comes out. Like all the people that piss me off.
I feel like that's a great place to let it out. I used to say the same thing. Like where people were like, "Oh, like you're all calm and stuff," and like up there you're like a different person. It's like it's a balance. You know what I mean? Now like I haven't done it. Now I'm just yelling at random people on the street all the time. little dumb shit is pissing me off, and I'm like, "What is happening?" Like, but I need to yell at people at some point. So
we gotta do something.
But you used to. Like,
when with Arsenal and stuff like that, we it's a different it's a different story because I had to like focus on the performance more than just be like let loose. Where I felt like with Under I could let loose and like do whatever the fuck I wanted. It was nice.
Oh, that's true because you did play guitar in Arsenal, so it was a little bit more.
Because it was like a little bit more focused. Bass, not discrediting it, but I was able to like groove around a little bit more. Yeah.
Bass is for chumps, according to Spineless.
Yeah, but they got Mac. They use what they said they use Mac.
They use Mac because their MacBook is part of their band.
Mac's tone is clean as fuck too. That's like really good lie.
I was like, fuck. I was like, that's fucking cool. He's like, fuck you. They get it. It gets it done, man. I was telling them.
It's kind of you can get away with anything. Or like we know plenty of guys that do like the guitar cabinet plays all like the backing tracks and stuff like that. So or all the like the leads and stuff. So all I gotta play is like the rhythms.
Yeah.
So it's like if it works, it works.
Well, I mean, I think the first band I saw do something like that, where I actually didn't realize that they were playing like both parts was I think it was Veil Maya because Veil Maya is a 4-piece, right? Or when I saw them, they were, and then like I was like, oh, and I realized like, wait, there's two like guitar things happening. Yeah. I didn't realize like till like after like the show was over, and I was like, it was still a great show, you know what I mean? Like I still didn't like have any complaints about it,
but it's badass. It doesn't take away from the show or the performance or the experience,
especially because they're writing it. You know what I mean? Like it's still it still takes the creativity of having to write both parts.
There's like I've seen like Within the Ruins do the same thing because it's just one guy. He writes all the parts, but like he plays what he wants to play live, and then they do all the backing tracks live. But then there's like a long time ago, Darkest Hour, when they had a different guitar player. He wrote all the lead stuff, and the new guy they brought in played this kind of the similar leads but different stuff. So like I don't know, I feel like they kind of pick and choose.
Yeah.
But I remember like Leader of Legend guys, Jonathan was always like one guitar player.
Oh,
and
that's true.
And he would have like the two cabinets set on like most like people do. They do on both sides, and you get like the full band experience, but it's cool. But also, they do like the cool fucking.
They do a lot of like freaking guitar acrobatics and shit like that. They have to practice so much.
Or,
like I just
there are two guys I've seen do this. The guys from Neurotic November, who does the backflip, and then Saints Can Lie, if I'm not mistaken. Their vocalist does a backflip too,
Damn,
like on
Saints
like right before the breakdown, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's badass.
You gotta like. They've had to have missed like at least
like,
a few times.
Like I practiced. It's like, oh damn.
But like, what if that goes wrong and you miss like really bad and just like, are you just like, just they just get that like wind knocked out of you and they're just like on the floor for like a while? Does the band just keep playing? Like,
I would. I mean, right? You just got to keep going, right? You just look and laugh and be like, fuck it, let's get back up. Yeah,
you gotta take the. I mean, I've fallen like a few times, I think, but the one I remember was the one we did at the shop, the Halloween show. I was in the Fred Flintstone costume, and it's like a fucking dress. So I literally like I don't even know. I was probably just trying to like walk or something. I'm just terrible and awkward. And I think the dress kind of like just like didn't let my legs go as far as I need to. I was like, I fell backwards into the cabinet, and I was just like, you gotta keep going. Like we really can't. We played really late too.
It's like 2. We started at 2 in the morning.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we played for like 2 people.
Hey,
it's like 2 or 3 people.
Went fucking hard for those 2 people. Shout out to those two people that were there.
Goddamn.
It was a fun time though. Damn. I met a lot of people that day.
Yeah, like that show alone, like that shop show alone, like met like a hell of a lot of people.
A lot of nice. I'm glad they're still going, doing shit.
Yeah, it's nice doing shows there and stuff like that. Yeah, it's been really cool. Austin people, all of them, they're really nice. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely, but you're up to some cool stuff this year.
Yeah,
like you got what you got going on?
Besides working at the Post, doing like the booking stuff, kind of figured take my little toe and put my foot in the water and kind of see what happens. Just like I feel like why not? Like I keep thinking like I don't plan on leaving Texas, and I really do love like the local stuff, like a lot of the local music, and just like why not have be a part of it, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of trying to find my place with it, but like with NoiseROT, just trying to see what we can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for people who want to know what we're talking about, NoiseROT is a booking company, and it's starting off as a booking company because there's plenty of plans for it to do some more stuff for it.
More ideas.
It's the Noise Republic of Texas, which is a great name.
Shout out Ed.
For coming up with that name.
I love that name a lot. Yeah, because I didn't know what
the whole thing, and I love like the shorthand, like NoiseROT. Just like it sounds good.
It's cool.
But yeah, it's starting off, and I mean you've been doing booking for like a really like a while now.
Like honestly, since I was like 14, 15 in like high school, a freshman year, because just playing in a band, and then like you'd play like the Door, like in the Stockyards, or maybe you got like a random gig in Dallas or something like that. But it was nothing major. But you learn about all these other bands that are playing with you, and you become friends with them. And then you're like, hey, well, I want to play a show with these guys again. I'd be like, well, my birthday's coming up. Like, can I do a house show? And I remember like the first time I asked like my mom, was like, hey, can I like throw like a house party, like a house show, blah, blah. And her rules were only girls can go inside to use the restroom. All the guys got to go piss in the alleyway.
Reasonable.
You know what I'm saying? And then...
the alley's gonna smell like shit, but
it's gonna smell like, no smoking, no drugs, no drinking. You know what I mean? Like none of that. And then I had to like clean the backyard by myself, which was terrible. But we got to do like cool house shows and stuff like that. And that was fun.
I think that was my introduction to house shows. Was like one of yours, and I don't think I played the first time. I can't remember, but I remember going.
Not the first one.
Yeah.
Because y'all did play.
We played, I remember we played one. But I remember just showing up, and it was literally just like your backyard, and like people were just like throwing down. And I think it was a little like I think someone like was I think it was Julian like from Treehouse who was just like he was in River Kings at the time.
Yeah.
But he was like swinging like me around, and I was like throwing at people. I was like, this is fun as fuck. Like what the hell?
Yeah.
But no, like I remember your backyard being like fucking packed and just like, and
just
like a lot of like it was weird that like we did have a lot of like bands that like we had around, and this was like before I feel like discovering like the entire like network of
the
like
whole
how many
bands,
right? But
so
this was
much
just
more.
like in the vicinity where it was just like
and it was like people not really from, or like Road Warrior was from Fort Worth, but there was a band like I Sunk the Queen Marie. His name was like Daniel Castleberry, and they're from like not like this part of town. They're a little bit farther. I don't remember exactly, but there were like a lot of bands that have just kind of like stopped, but. It was fun. They're cool memories. They're cool things that I get to keep with me. We made a DVD. I forget. I forget I have the DVD. I forget about that. But we have a DVD with everyone's set and everything. Shit like that was cool. And like just being older and knowing like I can do it. Yeah. Like it's not out of reach. Because for a long time, a lot of like the cool stuff that I see around or that I was like, that's really cool. Like it didn't seem like you can really do that. But it's just some time, some perseverance, and some money, and you can get some stuff done. You know what I mean? It's a lot of risk. And I think that's what I've learned, that I really am not afraid of the risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's what keeps most people like from doing it.
From doing it,
one short, like the lack of knowledge, but that's like anything and everything you'll ever do. Like you don't start off knowing any of this shit. Like you have to learn it, and some people just don't want to take the time, or like, you know what, that's the part that's discouraging, where they like, I don't know enough soon enough like to get it done. So I think that, but the risk is the biggest part, where I'm like, well, what if it fails? And then like that failure when it does happen, because like you can't stop them from happening, like you will take losses. You know what I mean? Like you can try to mitigate them as much as possible, but eventually like you're gonna miss one. But yeah, you can't let that kind of beat you. But it does in a lot of like aspects of stuff. But, but I feel like you've learned quite a bit like throughout the years.
I've learned a lot, and that I'm just pretty fluid, so to speak. Like from playing in a band or playing in bands to like talking to like the promoters that we would book shows with. I always made a point, and I was like, you know, these people run everything, so like why don't I like get to know them better, kind of see their perspectives on things, and like learn from that. Like even like when we would play like Tomcats, like I would sit with James after a show and just be like, how did we sound like with our mix? Like what can we be doing better with our live stage? Like as far as like amps, and are we cranking them up too loud or whatever. And he'd sit there for hours just like, well, this is what I do, and this is how I mix, and then, oh, by the way, here, this is something cool. And he just starts like talking about audio engineering, and I was just like, oh man, like that's really cool. So like I feel like I've just met all the right people. Yeah. And I'm just like kind of taking whatever information, trying like utilizing it to what I feel like might be useful.
True. And first of all, shout out James, because he was like,
James was the fucking best sound guy.
The best sound guy. To this day, it's the best sound guy I've ever interacted with.
Badass.
Interacted with,
so
and
sweet.
Like so sweet and so fucking good at what he like does on the fly. Like
rest in peace, Tomcats. Rest in peace, Russell Luther. Fucking all that whole time that place was open. Awesome.
Damn.
Love that shit. Love that shit.
Awesome. Good memories. But no, like you were saying, like I think you've always had that like curiosity for like all aspects of it, like not just like from your like perspective of like, oh, just a musician. It was like learning about kind of the entire process of it. So like also like how does the booking get done? Especially like I remember when we first played, like I used to do the booking like back when their Oblivion was in high school. But I remember at the door I was like, you know what? I think we had played like 2 shows, and I'm like, I want a headline. I was like, how do I do this? So I just like hit up the guy on MySpace, I think it was at the time, because that's where like their calendar was. And I was like, hey, there's no one playing this day. I want a headline. He's like, okay. And I'm like,
done.
Nice. I was like, and we would advertise it all bad. Like,
networking.
And it's like, but I feel like stuff like that, some of it is as simple as just asking. You know what I mean? Like the no will come, and it's like, hey, like no, really whatever. But it's just like asking, and it's like, no, not this time, but I have this. Like I feel like we've had talks, and you get a lot of that. It's like, hey, we can't do this, but I have this for you. And then like slowly, like I feel like slowly you've started like doing those steps where you like prove yourself on like something small, and it's like, okay, then like sure, people are trusting you to where now you're like starting to be like the first point of contact for like certain bands that come through.
It's kind of tight. It's kind of tight having like waking up to an email at like 7-8 a.m. and being like, oh, new tour, who's this? Like oh, this is tight. Like there's like a lot of cool stuff that I can't like talk about yet, but there's like some really cool tours that we have locked in. that I'm excited about. And then there's actually like artists that I haven't personally heard of yet, but I'm like going through their like catalog. I'm like, this is fucking good. I'm like, this is badass. So it's just really exciting to be like a factor, like a variable now, like to be able to do something like that. I think that's awesome, and I'm trying to like run off that momentum and utilize it to our best interest, so to speak.
Yeah, because
everyone's best interest.
You're a point of contact, and you are now like a stepping stone for like these outside bands to like
it's
even
tight.
You know get into this scene, get into our scene, which like I said, we've always talked about how grateful we are about this. So it's like, oh, like if somebody else is trying to make it out of like their scene and going to like other ones, like now you're like, you know, you're a leg up to where they'll be like, okay, if they want to play here, like, oh, let me talk to them. And I feel like you're a good one to get in contact with because
I'll go through all the channels, like there's like so and so wants to come from wherever the heck ever, and they want to play in Texas, and it's like, okay, like let me figure out where I can get the foot in the door, asking the venues, asking how I've talked to other promoters and be like, hey, like collab on this, or like maybe this might work out, but like I'll take the time to figure out what can work for the bands, especially because like they're working, you know what I mean? It's like it's all work for them too, and I was like, if I want to help them, you know, get paid at the end of the day, make sure they have a good show at the end of the day, and make sure the people who go to the show had a good time, make sure the bands who all supported the tour get paid and had a good time. And it's just, there's a lot of variables that when we were playing, or just in general when I was younger, just be like, oh yeah, getting paid, that's a myth.
That wasn't a factor ever, like to me playing a live show. And it was, and I always think about that until like I think like later on, and it was still always a hard concept for me to grasp of getting paid. You know what I mean? It was always just like, no, like we just like, because we just wanted to play in front of people, like, and that was my only like really goal. Like I was kind of like, oh, like so I was like, I just want to play. Like I literally just want to play. Like give me a crowd. Like that's what all I was asking for. Is like give me a crowd to play for. But when you look at like working musicians or like people who are trying to, you know, do some more stuff, and we kind of realized that when we were trying to build something more, I was like, oh, there's value in what we're doing. Like we work like at this, even though for us, like maybe it doesn't, we won't want to particularly see it as work. It is, you know what I mean? Like sitting down from writing, going, all the recordings, everything's on your own dime, your own time, you know what I mean? Which is like, I don't know if it's me like just getting old or anything like that, but it's the highest like commodity that I have, like the luxury is time. Yeah. So like taking time out to write, to practice, to do all these things, I go, that's hours and time out of your day that you could be doing something else, like, but no, you're taking the time out to that. And
so now why not, you know, get compensated for it in one way or form?
Exactly. So it's now being able to like, hey, like I know the type of work you're doing, like going on tour. I've never done it, but I've heard it's like difficult as shit.
I hear I would like to still do that. I would like to still do that. That'd be tight. You were mentioning like touring bands coming through and stuff like that, and I think something that I really got to learn and I really appreciate was working with Aeronautics and doing shows under them, because we got to do like travel, like going to do shows in LA. They got stuff like in the Carolinas. They're starting to hit a lot more of the East Coast, and it's just really tight to like know like one of my best friends does this huge amount of work, and like especially like the hip hop scene and stuff like that. So that's why when I was working with them a lot more, it was like awesome to kind of give local bands these different opportunities that weren't really happening for them, so to speak, or at least in my eyes. Maybe there's stuff going on beyond what I know, which I'm sure there always is, but like to be like, hey, I can put you on the show and I can get you paid and it's gonna be awesome, you know what I mean? Instead of just like, oh, here's 1,000 tickets you need to sell and you can make $1 after you sell 1,000 tickets, you know what I mean? Like some like ridiculous shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and I'm tug on both sides of it. Truth be told, like I get why a pre-sale is a thing, but I also don't like the idea of like a minimum. Like I have to sell like X amount, or I get reprimanded for it. Whatever. And I get that stuff like that, but I feel I don't know. For me personally, I take the risk. I'm like, cool. Like this is what I would like for you to do. If you can't, we're still gonna have a good show. You know what I mean? And I will figure it out as the promoter, how to make this show logistically work, you know, financially work, fiscally, and all that, whatever the heck ever, which has kind of worked for me so far.
Yeah. I definitely see that from the artist point of view, and like, and you're the type of promoter. I feel like at the same time, just to like be devil's advocate. Like, I feel like that band's performance, how they did, like on their pre-sales or whatever, will still determine like what other types of shows they get put on.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, and without really,
I'm sure it happened to us all the time.
You know what I mean? It's really not like a punishment or anything like that. But people are like, oh, even if you just look at objective, it's like, well, this is how much they pulled last time. He's like, and I need this show to pull this many people, so I don't like think they would be. And then I get, because we used to work with like, kind of be like, oh, how much can you do? And I feel like for us, we would be always as conservative and realistic as possible as we could be. It's like, oh, we can sell this many tickets guaranteed. And then be like, well, all these other bands are like offering that they can sell more. And I'm like, sure, go with them.
Go with them. Yeah, that's fine.
But I can tell you that guaranteed, like I'll have this amount, right? Like I won't put, and then we've had instances where, they ended up coming back to like us and to our band and be like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? Like let's
this
go with
show
you.
up. And it was always kind of like the next challenge, because it was like, okay, maybe we were doing like 15, 20, 30 off in the beginning, and then it'd be like, oh, like after playing like the national shows where we really tried to pull weight and stuff, and we were actually reaping the benefit of like, oh cool, we got put on a cool tour, we got to meet all these people and network with them, and now those same people are ready for our next show, and we were able to just keep you know building our fan base. And a lot of people have figured out that formula, but I think not everyone really utilized like, go talk to your friends and your fans, and like, you know what I mean? They don't just have, and that's the separation, but they don't have to just be like fans. You're not untouchable. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, they're your friends. Like, go fucking
especially
hang out with
like
them.
I feel like when you're starting off, that's the perfect level to establish that type of like relationship with like people. It makes it easier because you should be grounded like at that point.
Yes,
like you should, like you know what I mean? It doesn't happen all the time.
At the end of the day, we're all going home, the same neighborhoods. Like, you're like, we're
I mean, like, where are we going? Like, we're not any better than like any of these people. And like I've had interactions with that with even like bands that I would thought were like super like popular and stuff that. With who was it? I think one time actually I'd talked to it was John Mess from Dance Gavin Dance. They had just put out Instant Gratification, and like he ran back into Tomcats because they played Tomcats.
Okay, the Tomcat show.
Crazy.
I didn't go to that one, but I hear it was so like wall to wall, back to back.
So fucking full. But anyways, like I had to just stay there super late, and he like walked back for something, and then like I'm always like also like trying not ever to be like super fangirly. So I'm just like, you know what? I just need them to know that I appreciate them. So I'm just like, that's all I need. I go, but I don't need to be like, oh my God, like, oh. So, which I have been. So, no, it happens. You know what I mean? There's probably certain people that could still make that happen for me. But, I walked back in and I was like, hey man, new album. I fucking loved it. Like this, and I named like one song. I was like, this song is my favorite. He's like, cool. And he like turned back around. He's like, oh, okay. Like, he's like, have you heard like all of it? And I'm like, yeah. And then he like talked to me. He gave me maybe like a minute or two. Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. And I'll remember that forever. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Gave you that time, made that little, like that connection.
Yeah, just like I said, this little bit like always keeps me like, John Mess is a cool dude. You know what I mean? To this day.
Well, one time, he will not be named, but a certain guitar player that I idolize his band played at Tomcats. And I remember Rustin texted me and he was like, hey, guess who I just booked? And I was like, who? And he was like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, fuck yeah. And I was like super stoked. And so I went there early. I went there like they're loading in. I'm the first one there. I was like excited. And I was sitting at the bar and I was just like being a little kid, and Rustin's just like, so you're gonna suck his dick now or later? And I was like, now's fine. Now's fine. I got nothing going on. Yeah. But he was like encouraging. He was like, just go say hi. Like, don't be weird. Just go say hi. I was like, all right. And so I'm like, hey man, like I really love your music. I think you're a fantastic guitar player, and you're really inspiring. Like literally was like my biggest inspiration at the time. Yeah. And looks up from Twitter and goes, cool, man, yeah. And then like just completely ignored the shit out of me. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go fuck myself then. I'm sorry to bother. I don't know, it pissed me off and it discouraged me. Like when people say don't meet your heroes type shit, and I was like damn, like I don't have like a bad taste in my mouth, but it ain't a good one either. Like I don't know, it kind of irritated me.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean,
you're not untouchable.
You're not.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
And I feel like, I don't know, because on the other end, I'm like, what if they're like,
sure,
what if,
okay, maybe.
What if something's happening? That so I try to take that with a grip, but at the end of the day, I'm like, unless like you're being bombarded with people at the time or something like that, and it's like, oh, okay, like at the end of a show and like you've talked to like everybody tired, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I can see that, I might still be upset because you like still didn't, talk to me after I waited or whatever.
But I'm not socially oblivious
but if,
to like
nothing's happening and I'm walking up to you and be like,
just on Twitter.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, dude, like at least, like again, like I said, like
just
when I talked to John, like John,
Yeah.
he gave me, like I said, 1 minute, 2 minutes, maybe max. And I remember I was like, I was pleasant. You know what I mean?
You had a homeboy remember you from Sons of Herman.
He is the GOAT. To this day, I love that man. That's Andrew Wells from fucking Idola. Because I remember we played Sons of Herman Hall, and we played our set, and I remember we were playing with them. Yeah. They were like, I think one of the almost headline. I don't know who was headline. I think it might have been.
It was Stolas.
Stolas was headline. Yeah. So we played our set, this and that. I go back, and I'm like sitting at the merch table, and I'm just like sitting down, and he like stands up from his merch table, comes to our, like mine. I mean, we weren't that far apart, but whatever. He comes by, and he's like, "Hey man, like you just played up there." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I really like the tone of your voice." I think I was like, "Oh," like, and I literally didn't. I knew this guy played in Idola, but I didn't know Idola at the time.
Okay,
so. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. He's like, yeah. He's like, you just like, you keep working, you'll develop this and that, blah, blah, this and that. Because I think I started, self-deprecating as usual. He's like, he's like, no, you just work on these things, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And then I think like 3 years later, I saw them play the Dirty 30, which I missed. I love.
That was a great, dirty fucking
hot ass venue that one time that we the AC was out. But I don't know why that place was so cool.
It was cool. It was exactly what you needed.
I saw some
nothing
very
more, nothing
cool
less.
shows there.
Yeah,
but anyways, they played. And I ran into him, and he happened to be on the phone, and I waited, and he had like a little pause in the phone call, and he hung up, I guess, and I was like, hey, like I was like really quick, I just want to say like I love your band, and I was like, and I don't know if you remember this, blah blah blah, and I like tell him the brief, and he's like you told me this and that, and he's like, wait, he's like, was it in Dallas? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh. And he's like, Sons of Herman Hall. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yo, yeah. He's like, are you still? And he's like, are you still like? I was like, are you still in that band? And he's like, yeah. We just put out our EP. And I was like, oh, we just recorded in this now. Yeah, he's like, fucking, like, good job. This and that, blah blah. And he's like, okay. Nice. He's like, hey, I have to make a phone call, this and that, and dismiss him again, literally. 1-2 minutes max that I remember, and I'm like, oh, dude's a stand-up guy, you know what I mean? Like,
I like that.
Because like I said, it wasn't long, and I am always operating under the consideration of like, okay, like I'm not gonna take these people's time, especially because I know like if you're running in and out of like stuff, touring, especially, I'm sure that you got more responsibilities than just when I like would play like around here. But still things like that are still like memories that I'm gonna keep for like ever. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that was cool to me, and I feel like when you're an artist and you get to any level that someone is giving you like admiration or props or something or loves what you're doing, I feel like, that little minute or two that you can give them of like your time and just to be like, oh, listen, like, you know what I mean? That if that would have taken a minute of time to be like, hey, that's really cool. Like, how long have you been playing this snap? Or thank you. Blah, blah, blah. Anything for that. Anything a little bit would have been like a whole different story and be like, oh, could have made made a positive experience. But
he could have gave me his guitar. He could have
just something little. You know what I mean? Like, hey, do you need a new rig? Yeah, God. It's like, hey, are you good? We need an opening act for the next tour. He's like, no, you don't want that. No, it's okay. It's just a simple thank you, hi and stuff.
I'm sorry for bothering.
A picture would be fine.
But like, I just know what it's like for me personally going to these shows and seeing the bands I enjoyed, and now hopefully giving that to somebody else. I think is really cool. I like throwing shows. I like hosting. I like giving people a place to hang out and get together. I think it's tight.
Especially like I think with the shows you have been throwing, like there's been a few that I feel like encapsulate. I mean, the ones that I've like been to that do like encapsulate. Because I remember like the Bad Astronauts like EP release, like
that was fucking fun.
The album release at the Pose, like such a fun like 2-stage thing, and it offered the thing that I remember that I loved from Chill Sounds. Like people were just hanging out, and then like music started. It just reminds you like again, like people are comparing like all these. It's just any festival, I'm assuming, but the only experience that I really had was like Warped Tour. Where it was like, oh, you would hang out, and then like band would playing. Oh, we're going over here. You know what I mean? It's sure it's a smaller scale, but it offers that. Hey, let me hang out with my friends. Let me listen to music. Let me go like hang out a little bit more, talk. And then you, again, because you start talking to more people and more people and more people, once these people realize that they're coming to the same shows, you start making new friends, and you're like, and you start seeing each other. And I feel like you know,
it's a win-win across the board.
yeah, because that's. I mean, if I look at all the friends that I have now from like the scene and stuff, there's all because of those interactions.
It's
like, oh, we were
badass.
running into each other,
Yes.
or you were a friend of a guy that I knew, and like, but
Yeah.
you were coming to the show, so I'm like, oh, eventually we got introduced to you. Now
Yeah.
we're friends, you know what I mean? And then like you establish connections like that, and
Yeah.
you, again,
It's really cool.
you're establishing friendships over something that you both enjoy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Which
Yeah.
you're like, those are the friendships that like kind of make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're there to do the same thing. You're there to have a good
Yeah.
time, listen to music. You know what I mean? So
We
I feel
cut the bullshit. We know why we're here.
yeah.
To be friends.
or to get fucked up. I don't know, do whatever you want.
Whatever makes you
yeah,
happy.
you're having a fun
Fuck
time.
it. Have a great time.
But no, I feel like you're on the right road to do
Yeah.
something that you.
I'm excited. And then like working on like the post has been badass. Like
Yeah.
being able to work with Avalon or Brooks and doing shows that are not what I would call like your first thought of a venue, so to speak. Like it's a venue, obviously. But like the shows I'm used to going to are always like the Rail Club, or it's, you know, you got to go to Dallas and look somewhere up Deep Ellum, or you got
Yeah.
to go to Denton on the Square, or you got to go to like Arlington. Now is a lot more like the Division Street. You got like Mavericks and all
yeah.
that, and like Division Brewery and all that, and like the Post does a lot more like singer songwriter, and it's nice to have full on bands and stuff like that coming through. It's really cool. It's really cool because we don't have enough in Fort Worth. I mean, we have Tulips now. Tulips is tight.
Tulips is
And
tight.
there's like you got Mass, and you have a lot of cool stuff here. So like to be not on, I won't say like the forefront of it all, but like to be involved is fucking cool.
Involved in bringing focus to like again, we have a lot of these venues like that have a lot. Like I said, Tulips,
Haltom Theater. God.
Haltom Theater is fucking huge.
fucking
you know what I mean? Like
awesome.
in the fucking middle. Oh, not middle, but like off to the side of the
Yeah.
city. You know, it's still like within the city limits, and
Yeah.
it's like this giant venue that just
Yeah.
got like. That you're like, oh, like because it's been here the whole time. Like, you know, were you able to throw like these big shows, like if you
Yeah.
want, you know? Because I know with Aeronautics, what they brought, like fucking like Mike Jones out there, you know,
Yeah.
and shit, you know,
Sold
which is-
out. Yeah.
yeah,
Brought Mike Jones.
insane,
The
you know
crazy
what I mean?
stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, like stuff like Tulips, which is like a fucking great venue. I fucking love that
Yeah.
venue. And even the Post, like the Post speaking, I mean, one of the first NoiseROT shows is fucking Kurt Travis.
The Kurt Travis
Like,
show. Yeah,
Kurt
yeah,
Travis.
It's kind of cool. It's a little random because I wanted to do like Trees or something like that, but I was like, why go to Dallas?
Yeah.
I work at a venue. Like, let's just bring stuff here and see what happens. You know what I mean? And it's cool. It's
And
tight.
again, it's not like we haven't like had
Yeah.
like big shows like around here. It's just
Yeah.
like when Tomcats was around, like I said, they were bringing.
It was like
they were bringing like these
everything.
fucking huge shows, like you know, which it was a small venue, but like they would still be able to bring like these big artists like to it.
Yeah.
Like I said, that Dance Gavin Dance show, I think it was Dance Gavin Dance, fucking Polyphia, and I can't remember who else like came on tour with them, but it was pretty
Yeah.
big. I've seen Vela Maya like at that same like venue.
I've seen so many bands.
Like there's so many like they've brought, and you realize because that it can be done and just without Tomcats, and even like I feel like the Rail Club was doing it for a bit, and then like kind of it
Whatever
struggled
happened,
everything that happened, but
Man, shout out! I will say shout out Chris Pallone holding it down for Rail Club. Like
He's-
it's kind of
yeah,
crazy what they've had to endure, like this whole time,
It's-
and him with like great spirit, just still pushing through. I'm like, that's tight.
seems like a lot of hard work. Like
Yeah.
it's something that like I literally was like, you know what? I'm not a business owner. Like I'm not a venue owner. I don't even know how to like weigh in on this at all. But
Heard,
from
yeah,
what I
yeah.
can tell, like he's
It's
been working
fucked.
his ass off. Like
It's fucked,
at
yeah.
trying to keep that place business. And we've all like had. I'm sure we've all had like,
Everyone's-
pretty good
everyone's
great
taken a hit,
experiences. There,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, yeah, that like without those places bringing in those big shows, you're kind of it's like we have like places now, but I feel like because we might have lost like a bit of like the focus on like the venues that we had in Fort Worth, that now it's like okay, they're still here, like Fort Worth's still here, like we can
'cause
still bring stuff back.
Yeah, I've been seeing like tours being announced left and right, and it's a lot of like San Antonio, Houston, Houston.
Did you say Houston?
Houston? Houston.
Who?
Houston? No. Houston? No, Houston. And like nothing's like hitting, even like Dallas now. Everything's kind of going around us.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that's just the routes that they're doing right now or whatever it is, but there's been a few emails that have worked in our favor. Then I'm like, hey, do you need a Dallas date? And they're like, oh, we do. And I'm like, fuck yeah.
it's on the way to the other
but
place.
it comes back to what you were saying. Is all you gotta do is ask. All you gotta do is just knock on a few doors, figure it out some logistics, and see if you can make it work.
Yeah, I mean that's let's see, it's working out. You
I
know
make
what
it
I mean?
sound. I make it sound like it's no big fucking deal.
It's
still
you
stressful.
do it. I'm like,
It's so stressful at times. Yeah.
I'm sure it is, but you've also like created a little team here to help you out on the way.
Yeah, we got you. We got Ed, America's Sweetheart.
America's Sweetheart.
We got Bernie,
aka. No, I don't want to say her real name. Bernie.
He said, no, you're now Bernie.
You're now
forever.
Bernie.
No,
She hates
Bernie's.
it, but
Yeah.
yeah. But no, I feel like it's a good set of people from my views. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just because
definitely.
they're solid people. They're, as far as like I've interacted with, like as far as friends, they're like the most like straightforward, honest people who aren't like going around like and bullshitting.
They don't bullshit me.
on anything. You know what I mean? I've
me.
never like had it like that's one of like my fucking biggest things, and it's like smallest thing with friends. But like I was like, oh okay, I know like if I talk to you, like we're talking straight. We're not like bullshitting around each other. I'm not lying to you.
There's no sugarcoating.
You're not. Exactly. You're not lying to me. Like we're just talking straight, and then like it works. So like I feel like that's the type of people you want to have, especially on something you're starting off. This is a big passion of like, you know, yours and, you know, mine based on like the stuff that we have like planned you're doing. I'm like, so it's kind of like this is like your baby, and it's like I don't want anybody who's gonna like, you know, not want to put in 100%. And I remember even with them we had like conversations of like, hey, like, you know, what do you want to do?
Is,
you know, this is blah blah blah. Like what kind of effort? And then like everybody was like on board, and since then like everyone's been super like involved in trying to do like get this stuff done and win.
And it's exciting, and then it helps me personally, which I know there's some guys who do it all by themselves, and I can see how it can get a little overwhelming, but like having everyone with a role, and they might blend it here and there to help each other out, but like my focus is not on 20-30 different things, and I don't have to feel like something's being compromised. Like I feel like now with everyone on board and we're all moving forward, it's just everything works way easier when you have a team. And I just I'm so used to just trying to do shit by myself, and I'm like, I need to like let people help me, so to speak. It's kind of a weird sensation. Actually, I got it on a fortune cookie. Hold on, I got a little fortune cookie that says, it basically was like, you need to let people help you this year. And I was like, I don't need help. What does that mean? Like therapy? Maybe, I don't know. But it's something I've kept in mind, and I just realized like, I can't do everything by myself. Like even like the bar program that I'm doing at the Post, like I'm talking to all my staff and making sure, I'm like all my bartenders, and I'm like this is our bar. Like here, like let's all like work together and do some cool stuff. Yeah. Because I'm used to places anywhere I've worked, you know, there's one person who does everything, and that's their job. I get that. Mm-hmm. But like that doesn't mean you can't include the people who want to be there. You know what I mean? I get if it's just a job for somebody or whatever, but like I want to include anyone in creativity processes. And this is something that helps me out too, you know, but it's cool. It's cool just working with people. I think it's tight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially once you find the people, like I said, that like want
to do it. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because there are people that, you know, just need a job.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Or just like like I'm about it, and then like
the day of they don't show up. Yeah,
stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it happens, but and it's kind of hard to build a type of, because it is. I mean, it's definitely a business. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's something like that. And it's hard if you have people who are flaking, especially because it's the start of it. Like you were saying, like stuff will overlap because we're all like a team. We're all like in equal parts. So even though like I don't do a lot of the booking and stuff like that, but like we were saying, like, oh, like if no one can show up to the show, like to work the door, like, and I'm the only one available, like I'm gonna have to go. You know what I mean? I can't just be like, no, I don't do that. That's not my responsibility, kind of thing. But I do think it's kind of hard to let go of control, like on certain things. Yes. Because I know, I mean, for instance, like on the podcast, like I'm like, I need help, like sometimes, like on this, but I'm still like, I don't want anybody. Like, I still want to be the person who like cuts everything and listens to it. But then I'm like complaining, I was like, it takes too long to cut everything. But I'm like, I don't want to release control. But that comes into like giving trust to like people and seeing like finding the right people to work with. Not everybody's gonna like fit the bill, kind of thing, which I've still been weighing my options on like who I want to get me to help out with stuff. If you want an unpaid internship at NoiseROT, please email the email right here. I'm too lazy to edit the email, so it's not gonna be there. Oh no. But it's fun. It's the thing that's kind of weird. Like actually, right now, where I'm realizing, because it's been hard to kind of me to start setting these up again. Because people probably don't know because I put out stuff to the end of the year last year, but the last podcast was like filmed in November. The middle of November.
Weird.
So I haven't filmed the podcast for like 2 months. And I'm like, okay. So, and I learned from things. I'm like, I can't really have a gap like that because like you forget the like motions of stuff. Like when I was doing them like at least one or two every week, like I'm like, oh, okay, I can step right into it and be like, sure, I can talk again.
Yeah.
And my editing, like I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get
you have a workflow,
this
you
and
have a
that,
practice.
but then like you lose it, like, and that's like I said, it was a couple months, but like those 2 months were like all holidays and all this stuff, and I got real comfortable with not doing anything, and I'm like, oh, okay, so like even getting this one going was like even a little tough for me to finally set it up.
Asshole.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, I just touched the shit.
No, it's working.
Okay.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if it muted again?
It's been on mute again. Damn it. No. Oh, that would have
been hilarious. That would have
been pretty funny.
Yeah. Fuck.
Anyway. I would have just quit. I mean, like, this ain't for me, man. This ain't for me. I'm sorry, podcast is over. But yeah, you step into the workflow, but it is something that having people help you with it, even just creatively. Like I said, with me so far as like help has been like, hey, like I'll send stuff over to even to like some friends who aren't even like part of it, like NoiseROT Chill Sounds, but I like will ask opinions of like people who actually like participate in it. And just like consuming it, you know what I mean? Like whoever listens to it and stuff, I've asked like questions like Gary's always on, and he's like, oh yeah. So I send him stuff. He's like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And he's like, no. He's like, yeah, or like some things he likes and blah blah blah. But it's another input of like people like that I again know aren't gonna sugarcoat things for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and that's one of the most important things. Yeah. Thankfully, yeah. Like and you find the ones, that are just telling you, it's like, whatever, or don't really know, but then there's the
what you want to hear, so to speak.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's not every now and then I feel like you want some sort of like ego stroke, but like when I come down to thinking about the actual like product and what I want this to be and what I want to be able to do with it, like where I see this going, I'm like, okay, I can't have anybody like just bullshitting me to get on with. Like I need to know what can I improve on, because there's always something to improve on. Like how can I get workflow better? What can I do to keep like this interesting, keep it going, this blah, 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 because I want to build. Like I want this to go.
Why not?
Exactly. So
get it done.
That's what I do. That's why when you bring me ideas, I try to find the holes in them.
Yeah. I'm really good with, not great, but I'm good with like ideas. I'm terrible with like naming shit, like whatever, like the fun stuff everyone gets hung up on. But like, I'm always, I have an idea, and I'll think about it at 3 a.m, and I'm like, OC's asleep. I don't want to bother him. Maybe he's awake. And I tug and war, and then finally I'll leave it there as a draft, and I wait till like later in the afternoon, and I'll send it to you. I'm like, hey, here's an idea, because you kind of keep me in reality, because sometimes there's a lot of things that I want to do, and I'm like, I'm seeing it with like rose-colored glasses, so to speak, and then you're kind of like, hey.
And I feel like this is the thing, like I feel like I never shut down any of the ideas. No. I'm always just like, this is what you're up against. To look at. Like these are the hurdles, these are the things you're gonna run into. It's like, figure these out and you're good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's like, figure these out and then you're good to go. You know what I mean? Like it's
same thing with like having Ed and Bernie in the pocket. Like they have productively countered things that I may have thought, or they've showed me different sides of things that I wasn't looking at, and or like not realizing. I'm like, oh yeah, like this is why we need a team. Like, you need perspectives. You know what I mean? There's more than just you. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a little hard when you deal with when you're only dealing with yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then when you only deal with like people who you like, who maybe we tend to gravitate towards people who only have like our same kind of thinking sometimes.
Sure.
And when you only deal with them, where you're like, oh yeah, we both had this idea and it seems like a good idea kind of thing. But once you start getting those outside perspectives, like you'll see something in a way that like you or both of like your team was like wouldn't even have thought of. You'd
Yeah.
be like, oh, like what the fuck? Like I wouldn't even have had that idea.
Yeah.
Like at all. Or even like something negatively that you don't take negatively. Someone else is like, hey, like well, it can be taken this way. I'm like, oh
shit.
But that's the key thing that I've realized. Like perspective. Perspective is so like important, and I feel like a lot of people kind of limit themselves to it because they don't venture out. Because comfort zones is like the easiest way to stay in. But you venture out a little bit, meet new people, which is why I love like shows coming back. You talk to people from other, especially like in the mixed genre shows. You speak to other people about like stuff. Like I remember when I talked to D Money, he gave me like a whole bunch of like perspective on like how the pay to play shows stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's something you immediately tell me pay to play, and I'm immediately like, fuck that.
Yeah,
like,
but
I want to be like that. But then like he talks to me about it. This is just like if I heard it, if somebody told me that.
Sure.
And then talking to him, he's like telling me, he's like, okay, like I can see that side, and it'll still like, okay, now the idea I had is now influenced a little bit.
Heard.
I mean, it'll take that new perspective into account. Like instead of just using mine or my experiences up until that point, now I have another one to add to it, which will shift it. Like every new perspective you gain is just going to shift your way of thinking and allows you to, I don't know, just relate to like anybody else's situation and not completely approach something just from your own.
Yeah, you're not disconnected. You're not just detached to what's going on around you. You're aware. That's why I like knowing like the promoter stuff, being like in the band stuff, know a little bit of like the audio engineering stuff, like anything and everything that makes this shit work. Like I'm curious about, and I just learn what I can. Yeah, it's fun.
Nice. We're clipping that.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right.
Do you have any like things you're excited for this year by chance? Anyone you're trying to bring on the podcast?
Yeah. I've been trying to, I don't know. I want to reach towards people. I kind of want to reach a little bit towards people that I don't know too this year. Because I got some people already in hand that I want to bring in. Like, I really want to talk to Daniel Hambright.
Yes.
Yes. Because Alinea Productions. We're coming for you. You're going to be on here. Because his work is just fucking so cool. And he's so fast at it. He's so nice. Like, it's just like and he's been around for like so long, around like this.
He does so much shit. Like, I forget he does like the music video stuff like that. Yeah. And just all the work he does in DFW alone. Like, he does a shitload of work. And it's just clean as fuck.
It is clean.
Yeah. So, I love working with him on all the shows, like he developed like the NoiseROT logos and the Chill Sound. He came up with the Chill Sounds name.
Came up with the name.
Yeah. He came up with the next one stuff that we got planned. Yeah. It's all, and it's just like, he's just a creative motherfucker, dude. Like, I love that shit. That's badass.
Yeah. Him, I'm excited of. I know, I think Nick, I mentioned it to Nick a while back. I thought about having like Die in here to talk to them because they like again like especially being part of like a company starting up with that, they've been doing it for a while. So they were doing it when we were like playing. Yeah. And Nick's a freaking sweetheart that I've known for like ever, so he'd be really cool on here. Bands and stuff, dude. I don't know. I was listening to. I want to have like. The Silver Chord guys are about to drop.
Yeah, they're sick.
So I wanna talk to them. I want to talk to.
I don't know if this comes out before, but we have that Eye the Breather show at Haltom Theater, January 17th.
This will come out.
You can see Silver Chord and Back Talk. Fuck yeah.
Silver Chord and Back Talk.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be nice to have. It'd be nice to have Far Back for Back Talk to talk Back Talk.
Far back? Far back. I was like, what the far back?
Far back to talk about Talk HUD.
Homies, he said in the last one he's gonna do like full band. I'm excited about that. Page's turn?
Yeah, Page's turn. Turn
Page's turn. I'm getting excited. Anyways, but yeah.
But no, that's gonna be sick.
I'm excited about
Actually,
that.
he showed me some of this stuff, and it's.
He hasn't showed me shit.
Yeah, because you're not cool. Host the podcast and.
Okay. Shit.
Honestly, that's cool because I've got to listen to a lot of like songs like super. I think
no one says me anything.
Dispositions. I think who's about to put out like that single that Zaylen's finally on.
Yeah.
I heard that like
when.
back before Chill Sounds when I talked to.
Fuck.
Yeah. Well, they were working on like stuff back then.
Damn,
I think
Zaylen
that's the one
is
I
talented
seen.
as fuck too. I can't get over that guy.
You know what?
Zaylen
Zaylen would be cool to have.
Incredibly
Actually,
talented.
not talking about
Fucking
that.
A.
That dude. That dude is completely
He's so
off of-
good at everything you
But,
do. Everything he does.
You know how like they make like shit posting like pages for like bands and stuff? I just found a Sleep Token one. And I was like, oh, finally on here. And I like got on there and literally like they were naming Zaylen as one of the fucking what is it called? The admins? Like one of the new admins. But I remember we ran into each other at a Sleep Token show, me and Zaylen, and we like had a fucking great time. We were just like, yo, what's fuck? And then I think Sleep Token was opening, so it was like right at the beginning. Yeah, that's to discover that we both fucking
Man, I would like to see Sleep Token.
They're really good. They're live. It's fantastic.
We gotta put them on Chill Sounds.
It's fantastic. Yeah, people like Kunai I've been wanting to talk to. Yeah, he'd be
Good as fuck.
Yeah,
Good as fuck.
I wasn't expecting. I honestly wasn't expecting a lot of like this type of content he put out, and I'm like, ooh, that's really good. When he first like mentioned that he was gonna do that,
Yeah,
I'm like,
I've been trying to work with that guy for a minute. I'm gonna get him.
Make it happen.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you.
I'll get Bad Bunny and be like, here, I need you to open.
Dang. Bad Bunny. You can get the. There's a guy. There's a band called Aventura, and it's like this big like.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So they have a song with Bad Bunny, but like Bad Bunny didn't tour with them. So there's this guy, literally. I mean, it's fine. You can say they're a big band or whatever, but there's this guy that they have come up and sing the part for him, and they call that dude Fat Bunny. He doesn't even sing good. He's literally just like a TikTok personality. But he goes up there, he's like, "Yes, Fat Bunny." He sings the part so terribly, but it's hilarious, dude.
Fuck it, man. Fuck it. That's
But
badass.
yeah, if Fat Bunny comes by, we'll get Kunai to open.
I always think about stuff
I
like
feel like
that.
they're within our reach. What?
Like guesties. Like when you tour with and you play that song without the guestie. It's like,
Oh yeah, what I like is when they get like one of the other touring bands like that's touring with them to get to do the guest vocal. I'm always like, ooh, because you get to hear like from different like that part from like another like a version of it basally because you get like somebody else doing it. I've always seen those. Man, guesties would be cool. Hey, I ain't got no job. I don't got no band. I mean, so if you want guesties, even just live, like let me know.
do it.
Do it.
You did like
available.
guesties for like the Optimist back a long time ago.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I think I did it for the Optimist. Unilesk. No, not Unileska. That's his new one. What was the one at the time? You know what? That fucker would be. I can't believe I haven't even thought of that. Andrew Patterson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been like
the homie.
That's the only reason why this year's list of people like has been so hard because I didn't realize like how many fucking people available out there. So I start to think of some
shitload of talent.
Like I literally wrote some down the other day, and I wrote like 30, and like in Andrew's name didn't even think of it because I was literally going just like through a list of people that I could remember, and I'm like, that's a lot like to think about. But no, he'd be cool. But what was the band? Oh,
Design of Destiny?
Luniform. I did.
Oh, heard.
Yeah, that he was in for a hot minute.
Yeah.
I did guesties for that one. I think I don't know who else I've done, but it's fun.
Yeah, everything he touches is really good too.
He's just
Him and
good.
Daniel Gomez though. Daniel Gomez is a fantastic writer, and they always just play with like they have like just strong team members. Trevor Scott, fucking insane drummer.
It'd be cool. Lost in Separation. Since they have who's homeboy? They joined the band now.
Jake?
Huh?
Lewis?
Yeah, that motherfucker.
You write some mean ass riffs. God damn.
Him and Andrew.
God damn.
Andrew Hickman fucking.
Fuck, man.
I'm a Andrew
powerhouse.
Hickman. I'm an Andrew Hickman fan.
Yeah,
fanboy, dude. They're just so fucking good.
Yeah,
so
fucking
good.
shit.
So
yeah, I used to like a lot of the Set and Revive stuff with Jake and Alad, and they just fucking killed it. So like with the Lost and Separation stuff, it's just a powerhouse of a fucking band. Like they're all
good. They're
really
fucking good.
Goddamn. Yeah. Good stuff.
So having them on here would be pretty cool. Just there's a bunch of guests I want to put out. My goals are like to put out a lot more content. There's a lot more. I have another idea for like now that NoiseROT is kind of like our umbrella, like for like the podcast, and like I have more content ideas that I want to put under the same umbrella. So hopefully we'll be putting that out. I know you had an idea, or you've had that idea for a while now, but we're
Yes.
kind of getting a little bit more
We're getting
grip
closer
on
to that one.
to actually solidifying.
I'm
it.
excited about
So it'll be cool.
It's something I've wanted to do since I've seen it, because it's not an original idea, but I've seen it and I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So when we get there, I will happily and proudly announce that.
And I feel like I said, these ideas are like, yeah, like you're saying, they're not original, but they're not here. You know what I mean?
They're not
like,
here.
They're not here. They're not
getting
accessible.
done.
It's some of it is starting to be like, you know what I mean?
I see
hopefully
the
if it works
trend.
out-
I see the trend of people starting to get with the program,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, let's do this," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "That's what I've been saying." I don't know how to say.
I've been saying it.
God damn it! Yeah. So, but I'm excited to get some shit done. I'm excited to get Chill Sounds 3 down.
Chill Sounds 3.
and then-
Some big shoes to fill there.
Yeah, and there's a big plan once I get the meeting figured out. It's if I can get this meeting and pitch this correctly, it'll be fucking cool.
Be cool.
Yeah.
I have faith.
I do too. I feel good. I pulled off the last one by myself. I feel like with a team now.
All they can do is say no, and you know what?
Yeah,
Time will heal a broken heart, but not that bitch's window. Thank you for watching the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. We're gonna leave it there.
Cool. I appreciate it.
No, but yeah, you got a lot of ideas coming, and I know. Sure, I'm excited, and I like know part of these, but I know everybody else is excited to what you're gonna do next. So, shout out though. Dates. What we got? Kurt Travis,
January 28th at the Post of River East in Fort Worth. I also still have some aeronautics shows. I got one on the 17th again, Either Breather at Haltom Theater. I have Noogie and Treehouse Cabaret headlining at Killer's Tacos on January 19th. And then I also have Burial in the Sky with Fleshbore playing at Haltom Theater January 30th. And that's just January. And then after that, we'll settle down a little bit. And then we got a lot of NoiseROT stuff coming up in February and beyond.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put our links at the bottom here in the description. No, it's here. You got to point down. I'm not even in the street. Whoa, what were you pointing at? Why you go like that? All right, let's settle this. Here, tell me when.
But now,
Damn, so that's girth.
terrible. It's not even appealing. It's just so gross.
Yeah, no one says it's appealing. It's just it's still incredible.
It's incredible.
It's a damn miracle of science.
Alrighty.
We start with dick jokes. We end with dick jokes. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.